But speaking of Chase Mairdroth, he's one of the first players I saw as I entered last week, Thursday night, the White Sox Gala, a charity event hosted at the old post office downtown.
Okay. Now you mentioned the White Sox. Do they do this gala every year? Like I don't.
Yes,
I don't hobnob amongst the elite on the South Side, but
yes,
this is an annual event, and you got an invite somehow.
Yes. So, folks, I mean, we're a pretty big deal here at this podcast. We had a beer sponsorship for like 18 months.
Who else? Still feels like an accident in a mirage. Yeah. Like that really happened.
Yeah. That's what happens. You go to events and accidents happen, and maybe a good accident happened at this event, but more to come on that.
Okay.
So Robin, my better half, I guess is probably the way to say that.
For sure.
She is a director of operations at her company and handles all the travel, and her travel company that they use happens to book all the travel for the White Sox.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Her boss happens to be a Cubs fan, so she had no interest in going to the event. So insert Sox type thing.
That's awesome.
So
you busted out your tux and got the tails going, top hat. What was?
Yeah.
I've never been to a gala. I don't know anything about galas, let alone Sox galas. So what was the decor?
Well, thankfully, since it was a Sox gala, there was lots of pictures posted, and I quickly noticed my fear of having to rent a tux was put to rest.
Black and white tux. Your socks are black and white. I thought a tux would be perfect. I was trying to put that fear in your head, actually.
Most people were just wearing like khakis and sport coats, and I wore a tie. Like I wore a tie.
Classing up the joint.
I was in the minority with the tie. I mean,
really?
like most people had ties on, did not have ties on. I mean, I was with Ozzy and Chuck, and they both had ties. So I was with the tie crew there. The media was representing appropriately with their ties on. So
did you have a credential, a media credential where you could interview?
I did have a credential. I actually had a program with my name on it, like personalized program with my name and seat location.
You weren't accredited media.
I was not accredited media, but
You're faking that. But
I was,
much like we are throughout these podcasts, we are faking it completely.
I was accredited to be at the event.
They didn't kick you out.
Yeah. So let me just set the stage. This is how it happened. So we walk in, and you walk by like where the dinner is going to take place, which is like in the main lobby of the old post office, which is, I didn't even realize this. It's filled with businesses now. There's like Amazon shipping's there.
Okay.
A bunch of other businesses. So it's like a full functioning building again. So we go up this escalator, and as you go up this escalator, you get your credentials and you walk in to the cocktail reception. And the first thing I notice is this beautiful grass wall with a wall of Modelo bottles on the wall. Both the Golden Lager and I forget what the other one's
most
called.
popular beer in America, I heard this week, actually. Just took over number one, Modelo. Yeah.
I mean, they've done a great job with their ads, and I think it's good. I like it.
I hadn't had one until we went to that Sox game last year, and I thought they were fantastic. So
yeah,
I'm into the Modelo. I've got a couple in my fridge right now.
Pretty good shit. So, I didn't waste time. I went and grabbed a couple beers off the wall.
Nice work.
Made sure I had a frosty one, as some of them had been sitting on the wall for a while, so they swapped one out for me. Said, "That's right. You
It's
take
a pro
care
move
of me.
right there.
Fucking take care of me. I'm big time. I'm a guest of a guest."
Yeah. I'm not even supposed to be here.
I'm not even supposed to be here. There was like a bunch of cool auction items out, like 2005, those bobbleheads they're giving away. There was all the pitchers that signed them.
Cool.
That was all part of a silent auction. But
did you bid on anything?
No,
did you have a paddle at least we could hold up, or how does that work?
No.
Silent auction.
It was kind of lame too, because it was like you had to scan a QR code and just bid online. So you could have done it too if I sent you the URL. Wasn't anything special of being at the event, kind of like the 50-50 raffles, you don't even have to go to the game to get in the 50-50 raffles anymore.
Oh, Jesus.
Cubs do it, Sox do it. I'm sure all
Yep.
the teams probably do it. But anyway, I digress. So we have our beers and we walk to what is like a not so crowded location because none of the people we're meeting are there yet. I walk right into Ozzie Guillen and Chuck Garfien.
Oh my goodness.
I don't walk into them, but I walk into the dinner area.
Pardon me.
Pardon me.
I've only had 2 beers.
And they're talking, and Ozzy looks over at me, and I give him like I hold up the Modelo and be like, salute, and he nods back at me, and that was like our exchange. Wow. But then out of the corner of my eye, I see this individual walking through with a black dress shirt on, unbuttoned, like down, like to 3 buttons open. Yeah, not to the navel, but like 3 buttons open, white jeans, and this flowing blonde hair. And I'm about to say to Robin, oh, look at this guy really got dressed up for the event. And I notice it's Chase Medroff.
Oh, no way.
But so I immediately felt like an asshole thinking that because he's a fucking rookie. He probably doesn't have shit money-wise. Yeah. And isn't expected like, oh, by the way, you got to go to a gala now that you're called up. So he had a hot girlfriend with him. I'll tell you that.
It tends to happen.
Yeah.
And make the major leagues.
I said hi to him. Great game, whatever.
That's so cool. You recognized him even because he probably does not get recognized all that often quite yet, I would think. But
yeah, so he walked through. Like I was trying not to I didn't want to bother people,
No.
So Will Venable comes walking through next.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hi, Will. Just hi, Will. Well, that was a fucking conversation. Nicest fucking guy. One of the nicest people I've ever talked to. Stops. Says, hey, how's it going? What's your name? I'm like, I'm Peter. This is Robin. Huge fans. Been fans forever. Love what you're doing with the team. He's like, yeah. He's like, things are going in the right direction, but, we're not getting the results, and what I mean by results is like, it's tough on the guys. We're so close on a lot of wins and we're not getting them. And I feel bad for the boys.
Oh, man.
And we're just chatting back and forth. I said, well,
that's awesome.
I'm like, it looks like Lewis Roberts starting to heat up. He's like, yeah, that's going to make things a lot easier if he gets hot. And he's like, I'm not going to go over the whole conversation. I literally talked to him for like 5 solid minutes. And then
at what point did you mention the podcast?
That's the key question. Mention the podcast.
Damn it.
Just hold on. So he, we said our goodbyes. He went on his way.
That's cool.
So I saw a couple other guys walk. I saw Aaron Rowan walk through because there were some 05 people there, and I'll get to that in a minute. So I'm like trying to I'm overwhelmed. I'll be honest with you. I'm overwhelmed. I'm like a fucking, I looked at Robin and said, we've been here 20 minutes and this is already one of the coolest things you could have ever done for me. But then.
Did you ask her to marry you at that moment?
I did not at that moment. I thought, on one knee holding a Modelo in my hand was not the route to go, but.
At a Sox Gala. I mean, it's perfect.
Yes. Of course, we saw Southpaw. I sent you the picture. Robin got her picture with Southpaw. Your favorite guy was there, and he dressed up for the occasion. I don't know if you noticed that or
creepy fucking thing.
It dressed up for the occasion. It did. Yeah. But then the goofiest, the craziest moment happened. Walks right up by where we're standing, and it's Len Casper.
Oh yeah.
And I go, Len Casper. He's like, well, hello. And we shake hands. I'm Peter. This is Robin. Just want to say, always enjoyed your, play-by-play, even when you were with the Cubs.
He's a noted Tigers fan growing up in mid-Michigan, Mayo or something.
So we get to talking, and we're talking baseball, and we're talking about a bunch of stuff, and we get into the, somehow we drift into the Jimenez trade, the Jimenez Cease trade for Quintana, and he's saying,
you're talking to the right guy there.
He's like, it was crazy. He's like, the deal almost did not happen because they were freaked out about sending Cease to the Sox because they were convinced he was going to be as good as he turned out to be.
Yeah.
And they didn't. They were comfortable with Jimenez because, it's a wild card, a little more of a wild card, but they saw the development of Cease and said, this kid's going to be great. But, he goes, we all know the deal went through and it worked out for both teams in more of an immediate sense. But then in the end, it worked out for really no one. And
yeah, exactly.
He said,
nobody wins, nobody loses.
And he said something interesting. He said, if Quintana doesn't go to the Cubs, he probably goes to the Brewers because that was his next landing spot. And then the Brewers, in his head, he's like, that year, the Brewers may have beat the Cubs to a playoff spot. And he's like, so, it did its job at the time. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, in the end, no one's better off. No one won a World Series. So.
The forgotten part of that is Quintana helped them in the playoffs. And they did make another NLCS. So it's a bit overstated of what a disaster he was.
Yes.
In hindsight. So that's awesome. So you're chit-chatting, getting real intel from Len Casper.
Yeah, chit-chatting. And this conversation is going on like way too long in that I'm feeling bad.
I was feeling bad. You look at your watch. I got to get out of this.
No, and then Connor McKnight comes up, who's
occasional play-by-play guy on the radio for the White Sox.
And now with the new format on Chicago Sports Net, he's a sports network. He's like pre and post game and in-game guy. So I chat with him for a second. So I said, Robin finally is like, hey, we've taken up way too much of your time. I'm like, yeah, sorry. Like, it was great talking with you. And then he's like, hey, take out your phone and let me give you my number. And next time, I did bring up the podcast to him at one within the midst of the conversation. Just you didn't just
jam it into the conversation. It came up naturally.
Yeah, it came up naturally.
Good move.
Because we were talking about a particular. I can't remember which moment in baseball exactly, and I said something about how me and my buddy Smitty covered that on the podcast we do.
You mentioned my name?
Yes. And he's
There's like a few Smitties out there.
He's oh, that guy? No. Used to live in Uptown. I'm like, yep, that guy.
Yep, that was me.
So he gives me his phone number to call him so we can go up and visit with him and DJ in the booth before a baseball game.
Oh my God. Now you got to be making this up. This can't be true.
Well, I'll let you know because we're going to the game on Saturday.
That's awesome.
I'm going to immediately
just shoot him a text and say, hey.
Shoot him a text and see if it's legit or he's going to be like, who the fuck are you?
He was wasted, has no idea and no recollection of this conversation.
I told Robin I'm probably going to lose this number, creep.
That's awesome.
Okay, so
he's aware that there's a podcast that you are involved.
Yeah, so
an anonymous Smitty person, but does he know the name of the podcast? This is always
you gotta work.
What's holding us back, I think, is our own branding. You can't really mention Major League A-holes.
It's a courting process. You got to ease them into it.
Okay, you've got a whole strategy. You're way ahead of me. I appreciate it.
So
I am concerned about the branding. We might need to change this at some point, even though we've been doing it for 15 years. But
I do like to tell the story how we were once Major League assholes, but then realized we couldn't wear our own branding at baseball games. So we changed to a-holes.
Well, part of it was like Facebook wouldn't allow it or something. So
that too. You're right.
I tried to consolidate the name on every platform down to one thing. So that's funny.
So what happens next is they call us down to our, it's time for dinner. And by the way, Gene Honda's doing all the announcing and all that. So of course.
Juan, Eureka.
Yeah. Sit down now. Get to your seats or die. No,
he's the voice of God for sure.
So we head down to the seats and we knew ahead of time that there was going to be a White Sox player or coach or someone sitting with us. So we get to the table and there's like one seat with like a name card and I look and it's fucking Ron Kittle. Now this could not go almost any better for me.
You sent me the picture and I actually recognized him right away. I'm like, you're talking to Ron Kittle? What the fuck's going on here?
Like a 1983 player outside of like an 05 player is probably like the greatest. It's one of the best things that could fucking happen to me.
That's awesome.
So of course, I'm like, well, I'm sitting right next to where he's going to fucking sit. I'm not letting anyone else sit there. So luckily, one of the people who works the travel agency, she's a huge Sox fan. So she sat on the other side of him. So, bullshitted with Ron Kittle throughout the night. He had a hilarious story because he did his research and knew he was sitting with the White Sox travel agency and took out this picture. This is a crazy story. I'm glad you're sitting down. Be prepared to laugh. Him and his wife were on a flight to, was it South Dakota? And 15 minutes into the flight, this guy stands up, drops his pants to his ankles, and starts pissing in his seats. And he snaps a pic of it.
I think I heard this story, actually. I think he may have told this story on Hit and Run or
I'm sure he did.
Inside the Clubhouse recently.
And if you talked about things you didn't think were going to happen at the table, it would be Ron Kittle taking out his camera and showing me someone pissing on.
Oh no, he showed you the picture.
Yeah, he showed the whole table the picture.
You gotta see this.
He's like, this is insane. My wife's like jumping over me because she's about to get piss on her. And he's like, I put this on social media. I had 5 million hits in less than 30 seconds. Then they did a landing, and the guy was so drunk that he didn't even know where he was, and he immediately got cuffed. They did an emergency landing, immediately got cuffed, and got fined $200,000.
Oh, wow.
So,
yikes.
Just for everyone out there, don't publicly urinate on the
on an
airplane.
I'm always worried about that.
All right, I'm going to try to speed this along. So, moving on.
You're fine.
I will say one thing.
This is the greatest story ever told, by the way. I mean, we don't have any better stories than this in our history, so go ahead.
So, normally you go to things like this, and the food is like whatever. I've got to tell you, man, this was like, they prepared a short rib with, I forget what kind of potato it was. Dude, this is like gourmet shit. The short rib, you didn't even need a knife.
Wow.
The food was insane. And the people that, the agency that was hosting us, they like to drink. So let me just tell you, Friday morning I was not feeling the best on Friday morning. Yeah.
This is a Thursday night event. I forgot about that.
So anyway, a couple other highlights. They did a 2005 panel with John Garland, Aaron Rowan, and Ozzie Guillen.
Nice.
Chuck Garfien asked the questions. Ozzie being Ozzie, this is probably the line of the panel was talking about, hey, when you're with the White Sox, you're with the White Sox for life, as long as you don't ask Jerry for more money.
Oh, man.
I was like, everyone was kind of like, oh.
Was Jerry there?
No, he was not. At least I did not see him.
He's
probably
hiding in some booth.
By design.
Yeah.
He's in the dark like the owner in The Natural.
Yeah.
Infinite light!
Or behind the booth like a Wizard of Oz or something. No, don't look behind this curtain.
So they did that, which was kind of cool. Aaron Rowan also told this story that how Ozzie, and we always talked about this, whether it was in articles on our blog or when we were podcasting, reminiscing about Ozzie, is that he would always like say stupid shit just to take the heat off the players. And he
was the center of all the attention.
Yeah. And
by design.
Yeah. And he told them that the first day of spring training and that he would never throw them under the bus. And then Aaron Rowan tells this fucking hilarious story about how, who was it? Fuck, I can't remember. Oh, it was Jermaine Dye. Jermaine Dye blows this like routine fly ball. It like falls out of his glove, and they end up losing the game. Of course, it doesn't matter in the end because they go on to win the World Series that year. But he said, yes, Ozzie. They're asking Ozzie after the game what happened. He's like, I don't know. Why don't you talk to our right fielder?
Immediately throw him under the bus.
So Aaron Rowan grabs a Jermaine Dye jersey, brings it out to like the big like walkway and gets a golf cart and runs over the jersey a few times So there's tire marks, and then hangs it up in Jermaine Dye's locker.
Oh my God, that's fucking hilarious.
So he's the first one there that day because he's like, I always got there like first thing to work and stuff like that. And Ozzy walks in, and he gets this weird look on his face and looks over at Jermaine's locker, and then looks back at Ron. He's like, "Was that you?" And Aaron's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Good one, man, good one," and then walks away.
That's awesome.
So he did it one time. He threw someone under the bus, so he wasn't going to let it go. Then the other fun thing they did after that was the current team got up there and they did like a family feud where they asked them like, like some questions. It was just amusing because the team's so young and like some obvious things. The way they answered it was like, "Are you what the
children.
fuck? Yeah, what the fuck, dude?" So after that was then Pete turns into Stalker because
I've seen it.
I've been told that, once the event's over, you can go up and talk to players and whatever. So here's how it rolls out. I'm kind of standing up and they're like, you should go walk around. Like the agency's like, you should go walk around and do whatever. I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to hang here for a second. And sure enough, hanging there worked because here comes Lewis Robert walking right by my table. And I go, "Hey." And unfortunately, his interpreter was like,
"Oh no,
2 feet ahead of him when I stopped him."
How's your Spanish?
Zero. Burrito taco.
No.
So I like held my phone out and like, "Hey, can we get a picture?"
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah." And that dude, let me tell you, man, that's a solid motherfucker, man. That dude, like I tapped him on the shoulder and I was like, it was like hitting brick. Like it was insane. So we took the picture. I said, "Hey, great game today. Have a great season." So then I started to walk through, and that was when I ran into John Garland, which like blew my mind. And
I did not recognize him. I think you sent me that picture. I wasn't quite sure who that was, but now it makes sense.
John Garland was one of the nicest guys I've ever met, like from a baseball player standpoint. And I'm like, "Hey, can we get a pic?" He's like, "Yeah, sure, man. What's going on?" I'm like, "Dude, you made my year in 05. I'm like, "It was incredible." He's like, "Yeah." He's like, I'm like, "Do you get like, I asked him like, do you still talk to a lot of guys?" He's like, "Yeah, I still, all the pitchers kind of stay in touch. And obviously I see Aaron and Paul because I'm out in California." And I said, "Hey, I got to ask you a question. What'd you think about the ding on you your whole career about everyone always said you didn't give a shit on the mound because you were emotionless." He's like,
"Wow."
He goes, "Fuck those people." He's like, "You know what no one understands is every coach, that is what they tell you. Do not show emotion. Do not let anyone know that they've gotten to you."
Exactly.
He's like, "I've had that shit my whole career. Like John Garland doesn't care." He's like, "People don't understand. It's just all bullshit." He's like, "I had some guy come at me, a player in the locker room that I will remain nameless, and gave me that shit. And I said to him, 'You want to see how much I give a shit? Let's go out on the field right now and go mano a mano and see what happens. And you'll see how much I give a shit.'" So he had a ball in his hand. So yeah, it was that was pretty cool. It was cool to get his response to that. Something I've only been wanting to ask him for like 20 years now. So that was kind of cool. Then I saw like Getz wave to him. He was scampering off. Rowan, I didn't get a picture with because he was leaving too. I did talk to Andrew Vaughn for a second.
Ask him why he has underachieved his entire career.
I did not. I said I complimented him on having one of the
at a gala,
one of the highest exit velocities this year. But I said maybe you should. As I said, you just got to hit him when people ain't standing. He's like, "I know, right? Really bad luck so far." So, but yeah, I mean, will I get to go again? Debatable.
Yeah, I was wondering, once you get in the club, got your foot in the door, are you a lifetime member of this gala?
I was told I would be back next year, but we'll see. So if I am, good for me.
You did not embarrass yourself. You did not embarrass the podcast.
No. Well, not yet, but Saturday, I'll
all bets are off.
Yeah. So
You'd be wearing your basketball jersey and the Sox type thing hats and
yeah, that's it. I'm out. I'm out. Or no shirt.
No shirt. Yeah, good move.
But I will say, like, it was honestly, like, from a White Sox fan standpoint, like, you know, I probably had two of the coolest events you could have had over the last 5 years, which is, or whatever, 4 years, the Revolution event where I got to play on the field.
Oh yeah, like batting practice and
Shaq fly balls and get a sponsored for 18 months.
Yeah.
And then this, but this, like, from a White Sox fan standpoint, was,
oh my God,
like, insane.
Well, you took full advantage of that. That's fucking awesome. Like chit chatting with it. I'd have a hard time like speaking to people like that. So that's fucking cool as hell. You got the connection now with Len Casper. I have a brief brush with a kind of separated brush with Len Casper as he called my office up in Evanston, the office I worked in, Pro Sports Marketing, because we owned Lansing Lugnuts and at that time the Montgomery Biscuits. He called our office and was giving Joe Davis a recommendation.
That's right. I remember that story. Yeah.
It was Joe Davis's, I think his second job in baseball, who is now the voice of the Los Angeles Dodgers and calls World Series for Fox Sports. Yeah. So the girl that answered the phone sat right next to me in our cubicles. She's like, she had no idea who Len Casper was, but she paged Tom, the boss, the owner. Tom, we have a Len Casper on the phone. I'm like, oh, what? And about conversation lasted about 15 minutes, I guess. And then my boss and the owner came out. He couldn't believe he just had been talking to Len Casper, so he was starstruck as well. But yeah, that was the beginning of Joe Davis's career. He has thanked Len Casper for that. So if that comes up somehow in your conversation, let him know the anonymous Smitty has some connection there.
I'll be like, you talked to Joe Davis lately? 6 degrees of separation moment.
Yeah, that would be a difficult story to probably tell, but ask him about Ernie Harwell. That's Len Casper's noted Ernie Harwell fan. That's why he's a broadcaster. Growing up in Michigan, listening to Ernie Tigers games on the radio. But I digress. Yeah, dude, that's got to be the best story we've ever had on this podcast. So congratulations. Glad you had a blast. Now let's get some more content out of it.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I'll let you know. But Smitty, breaking news: I've been asked to leave the park Saturday. Anyway, we'll find out.
Yeah, it'll be an adventure. So does that wrap up our Gala White Sox?
Yeah, that's it. The Gala, the White Sox, where we've somehow again managed to make the White Sox the worst team on this podcast. The longest segment.
Continues to happen. You guys are endlessly fascinating. So.
Word Hole Media.